Let's draw Kung Fu Panda's Tai Lung. Take pencil and paper and control with me. The intro is coming, so hurry up! Really, go now! A few days ago, I went to the movies to watch Kung Fu Panda 4. And what can I tell? I liked it. It was funny, my daughter laughed all the time. But the best thing is that he was there. Tai Lung, the best villain in all the saga. After watching, I thought, why not drawing Tai Lung and teaching everyone how to do it? For this, I invite you to draw with me Tai Lung. To start the picture of Tai Lung, I'm going to frame where it is going to be in the paper. According to the grid I created, I can see that all his shape can fit inside a square. To make sure I have an accurate picture, I'm going to divide the square into halves. And then I'm going to divide those halves into other halves, which is basically a copy of the grid that I created over my picture. In the right side of the grid, on the second row, I'm going to start drawing his head using two rectangles. These are going to be quite slanted. Right in the corner, quite slanted, I'm going to draw a rectangle that is going to be his left arm. I will join his forearm with the body behind the head using a rectangular shape. A bit more slanted square is going to be his arm. His torso is going to be a rectangle slanted backward, just a bit bigger than the width of his head. His right arm is going to be a square slightly longer and tilted to the left, and that takes a big space in the left of the picture. I can connect the shoulder with the hand with a rectangle slightly curved. Continuing with the line of his torso, I will draw an elongated rectangle. This will be his right leg. His left leg is bent, so I will solve it drawing two rectangles, one going to the front and one to the back. This is my raw sketch with all the shapes that I'm going to need to draw Tai Lung. For this more advanced sketch, I'm going to start with the fingers of his right hand. Each one of them is going to be an oval. His top fingers are going to be in the corners and in the center of the square. I turn the lower part of the square into a curved line. Fingernails will be slightly curved triangles. The top part of his head is going to be a pentagon shape, or better, the shape of Superman badge. I draw his cheek using three straight lines a bit away from the initial rectangle. His nose is going to be a trapezoid, and his jaw is going to be a rectangular prism. I draw his eyes with two arcs very close to the corner of his nose. His ears have some kind of drop shape. With three lines, I draw the top part of his spine and some part of his back. I divide some parts to create the shape in his pants, his belt, and the bandages in his ankle. I'm going to improve the lines in his left arm. A zigzag goes from the wrist to the fingers. His thumb is going to be a rectangle. The rest of his fingers are going to be some overlapped straight lines. I improve the shapes of his right hand and arm, with his paw prints that are going to be two elongated rectangles. I start my drawing stage erasing. I use my moldable eraser to softly clean all the sketch lines. Now over this, I can actually draw all my final lines. In this point, our drawing is basically solved, but it is crucial to keep observing our references very closely. In this point, my emphasis is going to be lines. Over the shapes that I had from the sketch phase, I'm going to work to improve the lines. I want a good balance between straight and curved lines. Al momento de colorear, I want to avoid my color por encima de la pencil line. Eso puede ser problemático de diferentes formas. First, primero, al frotar mi mano constantemente sobre el lápiz, es posible que se emborrone y all the lines smudgy. And it is going to make my drawing look dirty. And I'm going to get the same effect when I draw constantly my color over the pencil lines. They are going to be dirty and smudgy. And with this we're going to find the second problem. We're going to lose Vamos a perder definición en nuestro dibujo. This means that many of the lines we drew before are going to get lost in the process. Que dibujamos and we end up with a shapeless color stain. Y terminamos con una mancha de colores sin forma. I'm going to trace all my lines with a dark color oscuro. This can be black, ese puede ser color negro, a dark color, o cualquier color oscuro, dependiendo del área que voy a colorear luego. I make sure my color pencil is always well sharpened. Que mi color esté siempre bien afilado. I want to be very precise in esta etapa quiero ser muy preciso porque esas serán mis líneas finales. I'm going to vary constantly my line width. Líneas más gruesas para partes más importantes como los bordes, parts like the edges, y líneas más delgadas para pequeños detalles. For details. También aprovecho el negro. I can also use black to darken some areas in his body, como el interior like de su boca, the inside of his mouth, pupilas, his pupils, or the shadow under his head. To color this illustration, I decided to use my Prismacolor Premier color pencil. They have amazing blending capabilities. But this box, being so little, may not have all of the colors that I may need for the whole illustration. For example, gray. During the process, you're going to see me blending different colors to achieve the hues that I will need. I will list all the colors that I will be using for the illustration. I start by applying a base color of dark brown to all the areas in the skin, with emphasis in the shade areas, and leaving lighter all the light areas. Over the dark brown base, I'm going to apply a coat of Parma Violet. Together, these two colors are going to create the sensation of gray. You can blend these two colors using white. I'm going to use this mixture in basically all of the skin. Since violet and green are opposite colors, I expect them to cancel each other, forming a darker gray hue. To darken some areas even more, I'm using indigo blue, which is a kind of dark blue. As you can notice, I am avoiding using black as much as possible. I do this to keep some saturation in my gray. This means to have some color in it. And in this case, I blend my colors using my white color pencil. Something I recommend to do at the beginning, and this time I didn't do, is the background. I wanted my background to be dark and also to have cool colors. So I'm using violet blue mixed with other colors. Just because I thought it was going to look cool, I decided to add some lining in his left hand. I use poppy red for the linings, and make sure to use very varied zigzaggy lines. Inside of this, I use canary yellow for coloring and for blending. And make sure to leave some blank spaces in the center. I also use black for the background, and I use true blue for blending. I color the pants using a very light violet color, and I use indigo blue for the shading. I use true blue to make all the blending in the pants, and some white for making some light areas. Using the same skin colors, I can create some shading areas. I use dark brown for his paw prints and goldenrod around them. With Tuscan red, I can shade all the brown areas. The inside of his dots are going to be goldenrod. And the inside of his eyes, orange. His belt will be brown with some black and Tuscan red for shading. His tongue is going to be pink with crimson red and Tuscan red for shading. I do some shading in the right bottom of the picture and of course under his head. Brown lines show the fur and the spot's direction. Almost to finish with the coloring, I'm going to saturate and blend the colors in the linings. I use my white gel pen to make some details and highlight some areas, like his eyes, tongue and nose. But also for the dots in his belt and to complement the linings in his hand. With black I reinforce some shading areas. And so my Tai Lung illustration is finally finished. How do you think it looks? I read you in the comments. See, if you do this character, I invite you to share the result through Instagram. Do you like the result? Do you like the process? I loved it. If you like this video, I invite you to like it, to subscribe, and most importantly, share it with someone who can find this content useful. See you in the next video. Adios.